heart attack. Fast, fatal, heart impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do continue, I do want to say a few things. Now, I myself have been rewatching this series so I can understand more about what I have included and what I have not included into the story. And I did realize I actually did forget about something. It is kind of funny about it. I gave Deku a belt from whenever he punched somebody who was in the military. He then stole their motorcycle. And that belt, now that I did think about it, it is actually very similar to a policeman's belt. Now, that's funny because somebody called Deku Rick Grimes. Anyways, that being said, I wanted to at least bring that up, because I was going to give Deku it back. Now then, with that being said, we do also at least have things between Deku and his group. Deku and his group, they've encountered new zombies. And Deku, after trying to talk to Mei about it, she did at least try and tell him. She has no idea about armor-piercing rounds, how to make them. In fact, the idea and real only thing she knows about it is that they are heavier and they have more velocity flying through them. Basically more force. And the only real idea she has about how to make them is packing gunpowder underneath the bullets. However, that does waste more gunpowder. And that is something that her group, they do have a good amount of resources to make. However, it is going to be limited. Along with that, if somebody accidentally takes the magazines that are made for armor piercing and they use them on normal zombies, they're going to go to waste. So she did at least try and introduce a weapon to Deku she worked on and played with in her head. However, now she feels like it might actually be something useful. Because while it may not be a crossbow, it is certainly something close. It is a slingshot that shoots metal ball bearings, and the way she made it, it took quite a bit of time. And while she can't make a crossbow, she was able to make something damn near close to it. And right now, Deku, he is currently trying to think. A lot happened last night, and a lot, well, is an understatement. He talked to me about their secret project. He talked to Mei about how to kill these zombies. And he's at least talked to Kendo. He's been so stressed out lately. And talking to her, being with her, it helps him so much. I mean, granted, he was like this with Momo too, but this is different. These two, they aren't afraid to hide it. However, they just don't want Momo to know. Because, hey, Momo apparently talked to Kendo. And she saw Kendo as somebody to look out for while these two were involved with each other. So if Kendo, or if Momo finds out about these two being together after they broke up, she would be pissed. And that's something that they both would rather avoid, since they don't want to have to deal with extra drama at the current moment. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does get to get up. Him climbing out of bed, as you do actually have Kendo who does get to still lay there. And Deku, he does get to get ready. He doesn't shower, but he does get to put on clothes. And then he does get to head out. Him still with his weapons, and even with his belt. Now, Deku, he does head to the armory. As whenever he does go to grab a few things, he does go to grab a bag. And he doesn't at least go to grab a spear that Mei, she actually did have one of the two new people who help her make. Deku grabbing it, and then going to grab another one. As he does then go to grab a gun, and then go to grab a homemade silencer. Now, Deku packs enough equipment for two people. As whenever he does so, he does go walking down the hallway with the bag in hand and the extra stuff. Before he does go to stop outside of a door, and then go to knock onto it. And whenever there is no answer, he does go wait. him knocking again. As you do have inside, where Kirishima does somewhat go to stir. And there is actually, whenever he does go to wake up, he does go to somewhat roll over. Him letting go of Toga, as he does go to get onto his feet. Hearing Toga somewhat groan and slightly shake in her sleep. As he does go walking over and ask, "What is up?" Kirishima, get dressed. We're scavenging today. Shit. Completely forgot. Yeah, I know. Listen, man. I forgot about it too, but we need to go. What do you mean? There's an area I want to check out. It's one that I know I've told us to avoid. And right now, I feel like we might be able to find something useful there. The military has left behind a ton of equipment. They've also left behind a ton of their camps. And there's an encampment over on my side of town. It's nearby a hospital. If I'm right, it's about 2 or 3 blocks away. Somebody found it the other day with goggles. And I want to check it out. Are you serious, man? Yeah. We still got some time before the sun comes up. So I'll grab us something to eat and we can get coffee. Hopefully, though, it can be warm. Alright. Just, let me just say goodbye real quick. Take your time, man. It's gonna take some time to brew, so I'm gonna get going. Deku walking away. And we do have where he does go to make coffee in the kitchen with a coffee maker. And he actually does think about if he should pour out the old coffee from yesterday. There is still some here. As he does go to look to his right to see multiple other coffee makers. They could take the coffee from one of these things. 2 of them are still somewhat halfway full. However, yeah. A nice pot of coffee, that's still something that he doesn't want to enjoy. Deku is going to pour the coffee into another one, as he does at least go to try and brew a fresh pot. As he's going to wait, and they do get ready to leave. Now, Deku and Kirishima, they would take a car and drive out of the manor, and people they do go to let them out. As we do currently have a few hours later, where Deku and Kirishima they are on their way there. However, let us focus on Kendo right now at the current moment. Kendo, she is going to wake up, and whenever she does, she actually is going to somewhat sit up and try to stretch her back. As she does go to look to her right, Deku isn't there, and it does surprise her. Deku, he's probably out. Okay, he might be around the camp. Her going to look towards the dresser, and seeing that there is actually a note written down. Her going to walk over and grab it. As she's going to yawn, she's going to read it. As it's a note from Deku telling her that he and Kirishima are going to go out scavenging, and that they'll be back soon. As Deku, he'd at least go to draw something somewhat silly on the bottom. And she does go to somewhat smile. Deku still does have a sense of humor. That's good. Now, we do actually have over with Deku and Kirishima. By the time they got over to All Might's side of town, they actually did have the sun come up. And it was very early in the morning. Now, these two, they park the car and decide to walk away from it. As right now, we do have where both these two, they are holding their spears, they have knives, they have sidearms, and they do also have rifles. Basically, they are armed. And they're making their way through the area. As Deku does ask Kirishima, as whenever he does go to see a zombie, he does go to just bring his spear outwards and poke it in the head. Before we're going to pull it backwards, what he thinks that they're going to find there. I don't know. However, you're not worried? I'm still worried, Kirishima. I mean, we don't know what we're dealing with here. Listen. Whatever we find here, it could be good, it could be bad. The place used to be a military encampment, and people went there to survive. So for right now, I'd say that we got a pretty good chance of finding something. If not weapons, maybe some food. If not food, maybe at least an idea as to what to do. Or, well, we just find it picked clean. There is that. However, there's got to be something. Besides, this place is a bit too large, don't you think? Yeah, you mentioned that now. But I mean, I always thought it was good to avoid these places. I've heard some stories from some other people. What do you mean? Um, Over on the other side of town, you know that one guy that died a few months back? Uh, which one? I mean, you know the one. He just went silent and we couldn't find him, but all we did find was, you know, oh, that guy. Yeah. The note he left said that he found a military encampment and not to go there. But, I mean, no one knows what he found. Now, Deku and Kirishima, they do arrive. At first, things do seem to be okay. They do keep their heads low and stay down, and they do try to be silent. Along with that, they did make a bit of a system. One beep is A, they need to talk, and start playing things out a little bit more. Two beeps, no wait. One beep is a SOS. Two beeps is that they need to talk, and three is that they need to get out of here. And they do work with that system. And we do currently have Deku. Deku, he is staying low, and he is looking around the area. Whenever you do walk into certain medical tents and even certain other areas where people they were held, you can see quite a story. Some people died in their beds, and others they died, well, running from something. Their backs were all turned. All that's left on the ground are rotting corpses. And the smell in the air, it lingers. It smells like something burned here. And that's something that both Deku and Kirishima, they can tell. They have an idea as to what might have happened, especially because there are some empty shell casings that are stepped on into the dirt. And that's something that Deku he did see whenever the light refracted off some. And he wanted to know what happened. Now, Deku he does currently go to step over a barrier. And whenever he does so, he does going to jab his spear downwards into the head of a zombie. As he does going to pull it out, and then go to turn. Him using his hand and going to directly, well, press on a zombie's chest. As whenever he does try to pull it backwards, he does have some trouble. Deku kicking the zombie over before just walking forwards. And going to jab it downwards with the end of the stick before pulling it back out. Okay, let's see. Deku looking around. He doesn't hear anything strange yet, so that's okay. That's good. Alright. Deku going to walk around, and keeping low. Deku looking around corners and trying to make sure that he is good. And we do actually have does go to walk into a camp, or, well, a tent, actually. Deku does walk into a tent, and he does get to somewhat relax a bit. Him walking over to a container that he does see. There are a few things scattered about on top of it, and that does tell Deku that it hasn't been opened in some time. As Deku is going to bring his hand up and go to directly grab onto one of his fingers on his left metal hand. And whenever he does, he is going to somewhat pull it up and forwards. Before he does directly jam a metal piece into the lock. And with the end of the finger he just took off, he is going to somewhat mess around with it. As Deku does try to pick the lock. Right now, Deku, he does have some trouble with it. However, whenever he does go to bring his finger in further, or go to bring the piece in further, he actually does try to think. He could probably break the lock. It could make some noise, but it would still work. Okay. Let's see. What secrets do you hold? Come on. I know I can get it. Okay, just a little bit more. No. Okay, hang on. Come we do cut over to Kirishima, who he is actually on the military side of the fence, and he is thinking about what he's doing as he is walking around and looking at a few certain zombies he does get to see. Right now, him and Deku, they know what to do, and both of them, they're worried about that new zombie. They know that they've seen one on the way here, and they're lucky it didn't give chase. So, it may have learned from the car. If it's one of the ones they saw. Okay, that is odd though. If they're learning that way, if they know that they can't chase a vehicle, they're willing to not waste the energy in doing so. So they'll go after prey on foot. Okay, but that still doesn't make sense. That shows intelligence. And that does worry them. They're dealing with smarter walkers. Okay, so Kirishima going to bring his hand up. As he does do so, a zombie is going to try and grab him. Kirishima, watching the zombie go to come forwards, and going to directly bite into the armor covering his arm. Him going to bring his knife up and going to stab it upwards into the head, as he is going to bring it down slowly. Now, Kirishima, he does somewhat think. They're lucky that most of these things here, they do still maintain that humanoid form. Many of the ones that they have been dealing with lately, they seem to have been a bit crazy. Okay. So, why aren't these ones normal though? Yeah, it makes sense. But maybe it doesn't. Is it because these ones are recently turned, or no, that doesn't make sense either. There are certain ones that just don't mutate. That's gotta be the only rational answer you can think of. Alright. Now, he does go walking to a tent. And when he does so, he does go to bring up his spear and go to directly jab into a walker before he does go to bring up his knife with his other hand. Him going to turn and directly go to stab upwards at another walker before he does go to pull the knife out and kill it. Now, he does actually go to set the walkers down to the floor. And whenever he does go to do that, he does go to look at a few things that he does see. As he does walk over to a filing cabinet and go to open it up. Think about what could be in here. And there actually is where he does go to grab onto something, and he doesn't believe what he did find. He found some junk food. And right now, he's wondering what he might be able to trade this for. This stuff is still surprisingly good. And it's a rare delicacy now. So, let's see. Maybe he could trade it for a handgun. No, certain survivor camps, they don't permit that type of trade. They don't sell weapons. Well, they're willing to sell certain items that are harder to make or they're better, as they may be silent, and they may be ranged in some sort of way. They try to not sell the noisemakers. And that's something that Kirishima he does somewhat understand. He doesn't like using a gun, but he does understand that at certain times, it is needed. And right now, he does go to somewhat grab a file he does see. It is marked by blood, or a dark brown stain that he does see on the end of a file. Him going to grab it and wondering what this might be. Him going to sit down in the chair. As he does so, he does actually hear it somewhat move. And he does going to start reading a few things. As he's going to open up to page 1. This is strange to put into words, and right now I don't fully understand myself what is happening. It is, to my knowledge, that this current, outbreak, exposure, attack, maybe, we don't exactly know. So far, efforts have gone unnoticed. Much has happened. Many of the higher-ups were reported as dead. And so far, we don't know what to do. I myself, as a doctor, do find this predicament to be bad. And right now, under professional circumstances, would state that this virus, whatever it might be, it's gone unnoticed. And it very well may kill all of us. I know that does not sound very professional, and not something that many people would like to actually hear. However, there are many fears that I do have with this, and what might eventually happen. Now, Kirishima does start to read some of the logs, and he does get slightly more and more disturbed as he does continue reading. It talks about the initial days of the outbreak, and it tells him a lot about this. And there is actually one for Deku, while he is still picking the lock, a few minutes later, you do actually have where his walkie-talkie does go to make a noise. Deku, somewhat annoyed, as he is going to try and bring his hand up and hold on to, or at least try to bring his metal thumb down to hold onto the lockpick, as he's going to bring his walkie-talkie up to his face. What is it? Okay, I found some shit, and you're not going to believe it. What did you find? Dude, this place, we need to get out of here. What do you mean? We need to get the fuck out of here right now. I found some files, and they talk about a lot of stuff. Do any of them talk about gear? Anything that we might be able to use? There's some stuff, but I don't. I'm trying to. Jesus. Okay. All right. Izuku. This place is a mass grave. Kirishima, what did you find? Dude, these soldiers, they may have been infected. They may have done something to themselves, and I don't know. Much of this shit doesn't make sense. And the doctor's notes, I think I may have just killed them. They were infected. They weren't human. This is all bad. All right, all right. Hang on. I'm almost done with this lock over here. You found something? I think so. Now, Deku does go to finally pick open the lock fully after he's going to sit down the radio, and he is actually able to pop it. Whenever he is able to turn it, you do actually have where he does go to bring his hand up and go to throw the thing open. Whenever he does, he'll go look down inside. There are a few things in here he is quite happy to see, and he actually is amazed by, as you do currently have the contents of it. There is another rifle down here, and there actually is a few other things. Deku going to reach down and pull out a hand grenade, as he's going to somewhat smile before going to put that down into his belt. And he does even start to grab a few other things. There are MREs in here. There was a gun. There was food, and there's even a water filter in here. Something that you should attach to a water bottle, or no, you could just use. This is huge. This means that they can drink purified water from it. Okay, and then there's this. Deku going to grab a bag. And as he does grab it, Kirishima he does still try to chime in. As Deku is going to grab the bag, pull it up, and then going to set it down to his left. Him going to bring his hand up and try and open it. And whenever he does going to somewhat pull it open, he is just going to stare inside. As Kirishima, he does try and tell Deku that they need to get out of here, and this place isn't safe. As Deku just stare at the bag and stay in silence, as the smell does start to get a little bit more putrid in the air, and Deku is staring at something. Before he does going to reach down towards his radio and call Kirishima. Kirishima? Yeah? We need to get out of here. You were right. Yeah, I told you. I found some shit. Listen, this place, the smell in the air, the reason why, So many people are dead. There's there's something over there, man. There's a lot of things over there. We need to get out of here. There's there's a graveyard, a mass graveyard. I know. What did you find? I just this this is they're all they're 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 from different people. Tons. It's they're just going to turn around and try to forget about what he just saw. That bag, it has human remains in it. And Deku, he doesn't want to even try and think about what the soldiers they did to entertain themselves. These guys, they made civilians' lives hell. And from what he can understand, the people here, the military, they lost it. They were presumably the first ones infected, right? That's not how we can justify that, though. What these men did, it's unforgivable. Now, Deku, he just gonna walk out of the room he was in. And right now, he knows to keep low. Him and Kirishima do need to meet up. And Deku, while he actually is walking through a few rows of tents, he does somewhat go to look around and try and find something. He does look around to see if he can see it. He knows it's here. That smell in the air does get a little bit stronger every time he moves in that direction. However, he doesn't know if he wants to see it, just to know it's there. However, he is curious. The place was attacked. There's multiple signs of that. However, some of the other bodies there, they were everywhere. Some are facing a certain direction. It's unknown if that person was just shot standing there, or they were running, being chased, evading something. It just seems like they're all over the place. And right now, Deku, he's not too sure what to do. And we do actually have our Deku does go to somewhat look around another tent. And this time, whenever he does go to Ceciling 2 tents down, he does freeze. As walking around the area, it looks like a kid? Now, Deku does go to somewhat look around confused. Why is a child here? This place is a grave. Shit. Are they ghost? No, ghost. Zombies are real, ghosts aren't. God damn it. Okay, that did not help at all. Now, Deku is going to look back around. As the kid, they're currently facing away from him. And they do go to look to their left and go to look to the right. Before they do go to somewhat turn their head 180 and look behind them. Deku going to somewhat jump his head backwards before we're going to cover his mouth. That thing, it, yeah, okay. That, wasn't at all a kid. Now, Deku is going to turn the other direction and try to sneak out of here. However, whenever Deku does get a few rows down, you do actually where he does go to look behind him, because he's going to hear something. Him is going to turn around and see that the kid, they're standing there, and they're able to see him very clearly. As whenever Deku is going to turn around, he does at least aim the weapon upwards, and he is trying to mentally prepare himself for this. That thing, it can't be a kid, right? I mean, necks don't fully go around that way. And their eyes aren't pale. Their eyes aren't dead. That thing isn't a child. It can't be. Now, they're going to go to stare at it. As he does still somewhat try and aim. His hands are still shaking. And he's trying to just calm his nerves. Now, Deku, he does start to back away from it, as he is still keeping an eye on it. As this thing does start to walk forwards, and Deku, he does just keep taking a step backwards, him looking behind him every few steps. As this thing, it does start to bring its hands up, and it does go to show its fingers don't look normal. The front of its outfit does have blood on it, and that already tells Deku enough, as he does get a turn and bolt. The moment he does, this thing doesn't give chase. Instead, it just does go to open its mouth and cock its head backwards behind it, and begin to start letting out a loud screeching sound. Now, Deku, he does hear that, as so does Kirishima. The moment he does, you do actually have Deku, who he does go to hide instead of one of the tents, as you currently have over in Kirishima's area, where a mimic, it did hear the noise, and it did go to bolt its way over there. Now, whenever it did run past the tent Deku was hiding in, Deku did go to look at that, seeing that creature, as he did go to sneak out around it, and then go to run a few rows down, then going to run back towards the exit, as he does go to climb over a few things that are currently in front of it. And there's where Deku does have to bring his hands upwards and go to put his his metal arm down onto a barricade, one that does have some barbed wire on it. Deku going to throw himself over it, as he does go to try and pull his metal arm out. Now, we do actually have Kirishima, who, whenever he did go to try and give a one-click response to Deku, he did just keep hearing it. And there was where he did go to bring his hand downwards after pulling out his metal arm. He did go to press down to the button. Bring it up. Jesus Christ. Run. What's wrong? Just run. Now, Kirishima, he does hear that. And Deku, he did say that a little bit louder than he should have. And we do currently have from the two, they do get out of the camp they were in. And they're both bolting for the car. Eventually, Deku, he does see Kirishima. And there is whenever Kirishima, he does go to unlock the doors, as Deku does come running upwards and climbing into the car. As Kirishima, he does just go to lock the doors, and both of them, they do go to get down. Jesus Christ. What's wrong, man? Okay. What the hell did we just walk into? I just... So many ears. That thing. That fucking thing. It wasn't a kid, but why did it look like one? What? Okay. Okay. There's something. There was something in there. It looked human. It looked human. What do you mean it looked human? It was a kid. It was a fucking kid. These things have obviously, they're affecting everybody. But, I mean, they were intact. They weren't goo. They weren't just creatures of a size. And, they look damn near close. Just get us out of here, man. I found a few things, though. Okay. Now, Kirishima does go to sit up, as he actually starts to talk about what he may have found. And Deku, he does hear it. The people here, they were dealing with too many infected individuals. And it got to the point where people, they started showing those signs of insanity. The doctors, they wanted to know more. They wanted to keep people for observation. However, whenever an outbreak started here, there was the fact that people who were bitten, they were more or less put down. because it was believed they would kill everybody. And that was a process that started. If you had a bite, you were killed. Or if you got a limb off, if you were just bitten, you had a bit more of a fighting chance. And that's something that Deku, he does hear him say. As Kirishima, he does try to not glance at Deku's arm, expressing to him that he saw the reports. He saw what the doctor did. And, well, he saw how the man had many regrets. Some of the soldiers, they seemed to have been infected. And the doctor knew already that it was too late for them. They had control and they had guns. Along with that, they may have lost their minds. But they were still, doing what they were doing. The doctor tried to stop him. However, a man without a gun against an entire army. The people who are supposed to be protecting them. Yeah. People called the doctor crazy. And while he did try to help people, many of them they did pass. When people started to realize exactly what was happening here, things got ugly. And the infected, they broke through the barricades. Now, Kirishima, he does go to someone to start the car. Him going to start the car, as whenever he does go to look up, he does see something somewhat down the road. And he does ask Deku exactly if that kid, they happen to have blood on the front of their outfit. Kirishima threw it in reverse. Dude, I can't. Why? Because behind us there's something else. What? Deku looking into the rearview mirror. As he does so, he does see something sitting on the top of a car. And the way it's laid out, it's sitting down there like an animal. Almost like a dog laying down on the floor. But it's got itself ready to stand up at any minute. It's ready to run. Shit. Dude, do you see it? Yeah, I do. What the fuck is that thing? I don't know, but isn't it sitting sort of like a... Yeah, I see it. But, is that the only one? No. How many do you see? There's some creeping up on the left. I saw them whenever they passed by one of the old rundown cars. And then I think there's one on the right, if I'm correct. I don't know if there's more. Just the ones I could see, and, well, there's one over there. Him looking towards the thing, imitating a child. And Deku does see that there is one close by. It's ignoring it. That's how they know it isn't human. And right now, Deku, he does just go to bring his hands up and check his gun. As Kirishima, whenever he does go to look over at him, he does think that Deku might be a little crazy. However, right now, it's the kind of crazy they might need. I'm gonna throw it in a drive, and we're gonna get the fuck out of here, man. You ready? Yeah, I am. Just, let me know if I need to open the window. Now, the two, they do get ready. Kirishima, he does get to turn on the car. And the moment he does, some of these things do start to run towards the vehicle. Kirishima going to throw it down a drive as he's going to speed forwards and away. Now, Kirishima, he does have to dodge out of the way of a car. And there is actually whenever he's driving down the road towards this thing. And whenever they do actually see one of these things up close, they are able to tell it isn't human. However, there is the thing running with it, or this pack-like animal, or these mutated creatures. And right now, they're just staring at them. One of them came smashing into the front of the car, and they thought that they could probably just take it out, bite into it, and destroy it. However, that was a new speed bump. And Kirishima, he did just try to not think about it. However, Deku could tell from the look on his face and the blood on the front of the car, he was still disturbed. along with that thing he got to see up close. And Deku, he does tell Kirishima to focus on the road. Kirishima going to turn on the windshield wipers, as he doesn't want to get the blood off of the front window. And right on the two, they do try to speed away. However, they're making a lot more noise. They aren't moving silently. And right now, a few other things, they are getting attention on these two. Now, Deku, he does still look behind them. And there is whenever they are trying to follow these dogs. Now, Kirishima does ask Deku exactly if he has a fucking theory as to what the hell that was, as he's driving out of town. Now, Deku would try to explain that he doesn't know, and that right now, they just need to get back to the base. They found some good stuff, so they need to make sure not to waste it. And they need to at least mark those areas as do not explore. Damn right you do. Now, the two get back to the base. And there is, after everybody, they do try to de-stress. And Deku, he does think about what he just saw that day. He thought that the crazy shit they were dealing with, it was somewhat behind them. Yeah, they're dealing with more shit. But this is a lot more than he expected. I mean, he just wasn't prepared for it. They, surprisingly human. That is what he is thinking. That thing, it knows human nature. It's either taking on that appearance or maintaining it. Or no, the way its eyes look, its fingers, you can tell they're sharpened. And then there's the outfit. Some of it was clean, wasn't it? Or no, that's not it, is it? Okay, so these things are bad. And then there's those other creatures. Do they hunt together with this thing? Does it alert them, or what does that have to do with anything? Okay, so clearly there's more. More they're missing. More they aren't expecting. A lot more stuff they haven't yet to encounter and understand. Deku bringing his hand up to his head, as he does somewhat try to think about a lot, as he's going to somewhat roll over and look at Kendo in his bed. Both of these two, yeah, they've been under a lot of stress, and right now, they're just trying to relax. Kendo actually asked Deku if he's good. Yeah, just thinking about some of the stuff I saw today. You fine? No. I'm not. What is it? Next month is... What? It's gonna get cold? Things are gonna get real bad? Things are just gonna mess up again, right? I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't seem like it'll be bad though. What do you mean? Well, if it gets colder, then we'll be able to take these things out easier. But then again, I am worried about if these things, they're still mobile. They're different, right? So it'd be right to assume that they may not freeze? Yeah, that is true. Especially if the weather's real bad. We had some decent snow, and without us being able to clear it or move streets, we'd have to probably hunker down for the winter. And I'd say that that's the hardest thing. Then again, water is also a priority. And so is those guys at the fucking place. Honestly, if we take them out now, make them get frozen in, that might be our best bet to kill them. But if we do that, we'd have to risk a lot just before the season starts. You're right about that. Plus, we don't even know if it will freeze that way. Yeah, you're right about that. Then again, what else could we really try? I don't see a lot of other options then. Are you sure you're just willing to let them die? I'm more than willing to have that blood on my hands because it means that guilty people will die. Doesn't mean I have to enjoy it. It just means that we survive. Now, Kendota's gonna bring her hands up and grab on a Deku. As Mauritia's go to get in closer to him, Deku's gonna hold on to her. As he does this go to somewhat try and think more about it. These zombies at this point have to be fucking with them. They're responding to psychological triggers. Things that humans they either hesitate against or they can't defend against. This isn't random, is it? No, these things are learning behavior. They've got to have some sort of form of intelligence somewhere. Maybe no, that's not right. Okay, but fuck. If he knew more about zombies, he'd be able to understand what's going on here. I mean, come on. There's got to be something wrong here. That being what Deku was thinking. And we do, at least, well, I do believe that's actually a good point to leave this part off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. And yes, things are about to get a little bit more trippy. And a little bit more mentally disturbing for our characters.